Three signs your board director career is going to stall or struggle as you try and build a board portfolio. Number one is you're taking too much of a relaxed approach to the whole game. The reality is, if you want to secure board directorships, you've really got to have your hustle on for at least 12, 24 months. There is a lot of business networking required, there's a lot of outbound reach required. The biggest warning sign I get is when people say to me they don't care how long it takes, they're not worried if it takes quite a few years. If you've got that kind of mindset, you're just going to struggle to get the impetus, the momentum, the urgency, the sense of urgency that you require to actually secure board directorships. The second big warning sign is when people literally just are busy in their day job. I've got a lot of clients at the moment who hold really challenging C-suite roles. They are literally in back-to-backs all day. They're struggling to just keep head above water. The companies they're working for might be undergoing some form of business transformation or critical project, or some sort of scenarios going on that's really ramped up the work levels. And as a result, they just don't have the time. And let's be realistic, to do this kind of work, you need to allocate time, you need to allocate a lot of time to the networking, and you also need to allocate time to the professional development to stay really current in the sector. So, another big warning sign for me is just really people who are carrying a lot of load. They've got big, complex roles that they have in their portfolio. They're just not going to be able to allocate the time and the effort required to be successful. They might be better off pausing and waiting to a better time in their life when they can allocate the time to be a board director. And then the third sign, which is a huge warning sign to me, is, and the reason why most people really fail in this sector is they just don't have a business network and they don't fundamentally like networking. I meet so many people who really just don't like going out, meeting new people, putting themselves out there, particularly when you're starting to deal with chairs, non-executive directors, really senior people who are captains of industry, and not having the confidence or the wherewithal to really approach those people. Because if you don't approach those people and build personal relationships with them, or have no mechanism to build a relationship with those kinds of individuals, you're going to struggle. So they're the three key things that I see really holding people back from success. They just don't have the get up and go to allocate the energy required to build a successful board portfolio. They're either very committed in their current world, whether that be a big C-suite role, and they just don't have the time to allocate. And then finally, they're really struggling with the networking piece and they just don't have the relationships. Now, potentially there's workarounds around those three key areas, but they're the areas that I see tripping people up on a consistent basis. And so I think before you go down and embark on this pathway, maybe in 2026, take a good hard look at where you're at, what's the reality check. You really cannot afford to go into this with rose-colored glasses. It sounds glamorous, but really at the end of the day, if you want to have a board career, you really have to be very focused, very targeted, and really putting in the hard yards to be successful.